California, a state known for its progressive policies, is once again making headlines with its new gas tax plan. This bold move is sending ripples across the nation, prompting discussions about its potential to influence similar measures in other states. The plan, designed to curb emissions and boost state revenue, significantly increases taxes on gasoline. This move is seen by some as a necessary step towards a greener future, while others fear its economic implications. Regardless of perspective, California's ambitious move is igniting a national conversation about the future of transportation and the role of government in shaping it. The Golden State's decision to hike gas taxes comes at a time when the nation is grappling with rising inflation and economic uncertainty. Critics argue that the tax will disproportionately burden low-income families who rely heavily on their vehicles for work and daily life. They fear that the increased cost of driving will lead to financial strain and exacerbate existing inequalities. Proponents, on the other hand, emphasize the long-term benefits of the plan, arguing that it will accelerate the transition to cleaner transportation alternatives and ultimately benefit everyone. The debate is far from settled, and the outcome of California's experiment will be watched closely by policymakers and citizens alike. California's new gas tax is not simply a local issue. It has the potential to trigger a domino effect across the United States. The state's size and economic influence often set trends for the rest of the country. If California's plan proves successful in reducing emissions and generating revenue, other states may be encouraged to follow suit. Conversely, if the economic consequences are severe, it could serve as a cautionary tale for those considering similar measures. The stakes are high, and the eyes of the nation are on California as it embarks on this ambitious path. The decision to implement a gas tax hike in California is rooted in a combination of economic and environmental factors. On the economic front, the state faces a significant budget deficit and seeks new revenue streams to fund essential services and infrastructure projects. The gas tax is seen as a relatively straightforward way to generate revenue, as it directly targets a major source of consumption. Additionally, the tax is intended to encourage drivers to reduce their fuel consumption, leading to lower maintenance costs for existing infrastructure. From an environmental perspective, the gas tax aligns with California's ambitious goals to combat climate change and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The transportation sector is a major contributor to air pollution, and the tax aims to incentivize a shift towards cleaner modes of transportation. By making gasoline more expensive, the state hopes to encourage consumers to consider electric vehicles, public transportation, and other alternatives. The move is also expected to stimulate innovation in the clean energy sector, fostering the development of more efficient and sustainable transportation solutions. The gas tax is not without its critics, who argue that it places an unfair burden on working-class families who rely on their cars for daily life. Critics also express concerns about the potential for economic repercussions, such as increased prices for goods and services due to higher transportation costs. However, proponents of the tax maintain that the long-term benefits, both economic and environmental, outweigh the short-term costs. They argue that the tax is a necessary step towards a more sustainable future, and that the revenue generated will be invested in projects that benefit all Californians. California's push for electric vehicles is a cornerstone of its strategy to reduce emissions and combat climate change. The state has set ambitious targets for electric vehicle adoption, aiming to have 5 million zero-emission vehicles on the road by 2030. However, this ambitious goal faces a significant hurdle: the state's current electricity supply. California's power grid is already strained, particularly during peak demand periods, and a rapid increase in electric vehicle adoption could exacerbate these challenges. The increased demand for electricity from millions of new electric vehicles will require significant investments in upgrading and expanding the state's power grid. This includes building new power plants, strengthening transmission lines, and developing innovative energy storage solutions. These infrastructure upgrades are essential to ensure that the grid can handle the increased load without compromising reliability. Without sufficient investment, the state risks facing rolling blackouts and energy shortages, particularly during periods of high demand. Another challenge lies in the source of California's electricity. The state has made significant strides in transitioning to renewable energy sources, but fossil fuels still play a significant role in electricity generation. A surge in electric vehicle adoption, if not accompanied by a parallel increase in renewable energy generation, could lead to an unintended consequence: increased reliance on fossil fuels to power the electric grid. To fully realize the environmental benefits of electric vehicles, California must prioritize the development of clean and renewable energy sources to power its transportation sector. Section 4. The price tag of change. The implementation of the new gas tax in California is expected to have a noticeable impact on gas prices, further increasing the cost of driving for Californians. Experts predict that the tax will result in a significant jump in gas prices, adding a considerable amount to the cost of filling up a tank. This increase will undoubtedly affect drivers' budgets, particularly those who rely heavily on their vehicles for work and daily commutes. The rising cost of gasoline is also likely to have ripple effects throughout the economy, potentially leading to higher prices for consumer goods and services as businesses pass on their increased transportation costs. In addition to the immediate impact on gas prices, the new tax is also expected to influence the cost of vehicles themselves. As the price of gasoline rises, the demand for fuel-efficient vehicles, including electric cars, is likely to increase. This shift in demand could lead to higher prices for these vehicles, at least in the short term, as manufacturers adjust to the changing market dynamics. While the long-term goal is to make electric vehicles more affordable and accessible to a wider range of consumers, the initial impact of the gas tax may temporarily increase the price tag for those seeking to transition to cleaner transportation options. The combined effect of higher gas prices and potentially higher vehicle costs raises concerns about affordability and accessibility, particularly for low-income households. Critics argue that the gas tax disproportionately burdens those who can least afford it, potentially exacerbating existing inequalities. They advocate for targeted measures to mitigate the impact on vulnerable communities, such as subsidies for low-income families transitioning to electric vehicles or expanded public transportation options. Policymakers face the challenge of balancing the need for revenue generation and environmental protection with the imperative to ensure equitable access to transportation for all Californians. Section 5. A national trend in the making. California's bold move to significantly hike its gas tax has sparked widespread debate and speculation about its potential to influence similar policies in other states. As a trendsetter in environmental policy, California's actions often serve as a bellwether for the rest of the nation. If the gas tax proves successful in reducing emissions and generating revenue for the state, other states facing similar environmental and budgetary challenges may be encouraged to follow suit. The potential for a ripple effect across the country is significant as states grapple with the need to address climate change while also meeting their fiscal responsibilities. Several states are already considering or actively pursuing measures to increase gas taxes or implement similar carbon pricing mechanisms. These states recognize the need to reduce their reliance on fossil fuels and transition to cleaner transportation alternatives. They are also looking for ways to generate revenue to fund infrastructure improvements and other essential services. California's experience with its new gas tax will be closely watched by policymakers in these states as they weigh the potential benefits and drawbacks of implementing similar policies. The success or failure of California's approach could have a significant impact on the national conversation surrounding climate policy and transportation. The potential for a nationwide trend towards higher gas taxes or carbon pricing mechanisms raises important questions about the future of transportation in the United States. As the cost of driving continues to rise, consumers and businesses will be increasingly compelled to explore alternative modes of transportation, such as electric vehicles, public transit, and cycling. This shift could lead to significant changes in urban planning, infrastructure development, and the automotive industry. The transition to a cleaner and more sustainable transportation system will require a concerted effort from all levels of government, as well as the private sector, to ensure a smooth and equitable transition. Section 6. Navigating the future. The implications of California's gas tax extend beyond the immediate financial and regulatory spheres, prompting a broader conversation about the future of transportation and its intersection with environmental policy. As the nation grapples with the urgent need to address climate change, policymakers and citizens alike must engage in informed discussions about the costs and benefits of various policy options. The transition to a cleaner and more sustainable transportation system will require a collective effort, involving not only government regulations but also individual choices and technological innovation. Staying informed about the evolving landscape of transportation policy is crucial for individuals and communities to navigate the changes effectively. By understanding the rationale behind policies like the gas tax, citizens can engage in meaningful dialogue about their potential impacts and advocate for solutions that address their specific needs and concerns. Access to accurate and unbiased information is essential to ensure that policy decisions are made with the best interests of all stakeholders in mind. The path towards a sustainable transportation future will undoubtedly involve a combination of financial incentives, regulatory measures, and technological advancements. As policymakers experiment with different approaches such as gas taxes, carbon pricing, and electric vehicle subsidies, it is essential to continuously evaluate their effectiveness and adjust course as needed. Open dialogue, informed decision-making, and a commitment to finding equitable solutions will be key to navigating the complexities of this transition and ensuring a brighter future for generations to come.